Hello everyone and welcome back to A Bit Tactical, where today I'm going to be doing the necessary changes that Kasrkin need in the next Dataslate, which will be in 3 months. But I am not going to be apologetic anymore, okay? Nothing here is wacky. Everything is real and it 100% makes sense, and no one can take them away from me. These are changes that I think will turn Kasrkin from a 30% win rate to at the very least a 50% win rate. And I don't even think they're that crazy. I think they're in line with more than most of the teams here, okay? I don't know about some of the other 30% win rate teams, but Kasrkin, I think that this is just right in line with everybody else, okay? So, with all that being said, let's get right into it. Let's start out with the faction rules. I think you can keep everything the same if you want to, if you just add one thing, and that's elite points, okay? We should bring them back, okay? Just like prescience points for Nemesis Claw, just like faith points for novitiates, I think elite points should come back. They shouldn't come back in the form that they were before, where you just had 10 and you can regenerate some every turning point. No. I think it should just be a D3 every single turning point, and it goes away at the end of the turning point. So at most you can have 3, or at the very least you can have 1. And those points are 100% going to be effective, and they're going to be good, and they're going to help the team do what they do best, which is have a spicy shooting attack, which is fine. I think this is totally... If you do this, I don't think you have to change any of the faction rules. In fact, if you do this, you might not even have to change anything on the team at all. It's just this. But I know Games Workshop, okay? They're not going to do this. So instead, let's go through the faction rules and see what we can change. Starting up with Light 'em Up, I just think remove the caveats. Having Severe on your weapon attacks isn't too crazy, like, at all. Yes, it can pair really well with Piercing Crits 1, but considering that, again, other teams can teleport, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If you do want to add a caveat, add one that's like you have to be within 8 inches or something. Something more reasonable than they just not in cover or they have to be scanned, because Kasrkin's getting up in people's faces isn't really what you want to do with Kasrkin. So changing the caveat somewhat to make it easier to attain, because again, this is the faction rule. We shouldn't be struggling to get our faction rule off. It doesn't even make sense. So just remove the caveats and just grant us severe on our shooting attacks. Strike fast doesn't need a change. If there is a change, I would just say that it should also include the charge. No reason why it really shouldn't, since Kasrkin don't really charge anyway. So yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't include it with the charge. That's the only change I would suggest. Ice in your veins is one of those things where it can be useful. I've had use out of it in both of my last games. I've had operatives that would have been killed had I not had this going on them, and reduced my damage just by 1 to allow me to survive on 1. So I don't think it's too bad. Maybe, you know what would be cool is if Ice in your veins does the damage negation, and it also prevents you from suffering from either the movement stat or the hit stat on injury, right? So either you keep your same hit stat or you just remove all injuries, because more than likely you're not going to assign this to the whole team. You're just going to assign it with your sergeant, which means you do need to have a little bit of planning in order to use it effectively. So in that case, I think that would be, just remove injuries for somebody that has ice in your veins. I feel like that's a cool way to upgrade this particular skill at arms. Now, for Kadia is something that I have a deep place in my heart for. I think that it's pretty good as it is now. If you want to add something nice to it, I think Lethal 5, probably. It's like one of those things that you can add that makes it so that when it hits, it really does hit, but it's not going to be like game changing or anything. I don't think. And also take away that sentence that says to a maximum of 4 in the attacks. Let the Kasrkin Sergeant have 5 attacks on his stuff so he can be on par with other melee operatives. It'll literally just make him on par with other melee operatives. It's not going to really affect the rest of the team. Just that's what you should do. Now, moving on to equipment, I think that for the most part, it's good. Relics of Cardio, just good. Long range scope, just good. And foregrip, I think I'll take Can You Roll a Crit suggestion to just increase it from 3 inches to 6 inches to get accurate one. Again, accurate one isn't that crazy. And now that things that don't really stack as they used to before, like accurate one no longer stacks with severe, so you can't really stack it like that. It's not as powerful, so I don't see a reason why you wouldn't have this. And combat knives or blades, it's fine, it's cool. To be honest, I would prefer not to have combat blades in order to have something else that's cool. I don't know what else it could be, but yeah, the equipment is not really the problem. It's fine here. The elimination pattern, it's already pretty good. I think the caveat here is actually justified, mainly because of its potential to stack up with light 'em up, right? And see, this is what I mean. I'm okay with caveat so long as it makes sense. This is a strategy ploy. It should have a caveat. It should be powerful, but it should have something that's preventing it from being too crazy. And then you have something like, you pair it up with something like the Auspex scan, and now it's like, okay, now I've got several different ways to get this, and it's up to me to strategically plan this out. I like that approach. So no changes here. This is just good. Engage from cover sucks. I think it should be changed to a completely different rule. I think that you can choose 2 of your Kasrkin soldiers. If one of them gets shot, the other can then do a free shooting attack, and they can switch their order in order to do so. Obviously, they still have to follow the valid target rules and all that stuff, but I think this would be a cooler ploy than what we have now. But if not that, then just switch it from, if you're in cover, you can say you can reroll 1 dice, so you can reroll all your dice. Because I mean, I used this recently, and it's not that good. You save on 4s anyway, so who really cares? But even then, I probably still wouldn't use it. Okay, if they used the other one, then it would give you more choice, because that I feel like would be a really cool ploy. Relocate, that's just good on its own. If there was going to be a change, if I really wanted to be spiteful because of the sanctifiers, then I would say turning point 1, you can also do it, but I don't think that's really necessary. Clearance sweep is all right, and it can work out well. Again, other people have access, other teams have easy access to ceaseless. That kind of feels like, I don't understand why we don't. If anything, I would just increase the clearance sweep token range from 5 inches to maybe 6, maybe 7. I would say full 8, but I could understand why that would be too crazy. But yeah, just increase the measurement size just a little bit so that it's a little bit more useful. 5 is such a weird measurement that to have, I don't know why that's the measurement. It should just be 6, so we can be a little bit more flexible with it. Seize the initiative and neutralize target are good by themselves. They don't need any changes. Give no ground though. This I think needs to be changed to something else. Just having it so that if it's equal to the other person, you control it. You win ties on determining control of a marker. I don't really know if that's really that useful. What else it could be used for? Maybe applying kind of the terror rule from the Phobos strike team into it, except you have to spend a ploy or a CP to do it. That's probably more useful. Or having having access to more rerolls. You choose a marker, and then if you're within 3 inches of that marker, you get balanced, right? That would be probably, to me, that would be a better use of it than what we have right now. But, I mean, tell me what you guys think on that. And then, of course, we have cover retreat. I think that this should be changed. It should be a combination of the old cover retreat and the new one. Number 1, you can retreat for 1, you can fall back for 1 less action point. And if somebody is within 6 inches of you, a friendly operative is within 6 inches of you, they get a free shooting attack, and they can change their order in order to do so. Again, this makes the Firefight Ploys and strategy ploys a lot more easier. All of them are specific to a certain situation, and because they're pretty good, it'll make it a CP hungry team on a team that can't regenerate any CP. So you're really going to have to choose what you're going to want to do, as opposed to right now where really you're just running one strategy ploy and probably only one, maybe two Firefight Ploys. Now let's actually move on to the operatives, and it's going to be with the operatives that don't need any changes at all. Kasrkin Sergeant, the gunners, except for the hotshot volley, we'll talk about him in a bit. The medic, the recon trooper, the demo trooper will be changed, and the elite trooper. All these operatives, they don't need to be changed. They're fine as they are. I like them as they are. But with the hotshot volley gunner, I think that his weapon profile should be changed from 3.4 to 3.5. I just think that extra printed damage probably be helpful with him and really make it so that you could bring him along. If you don't want to do that, give him another weapon rule. Give him balanced or something like that, so that he can have easy access to rerolls, so that there's more of a reason to bring him than not, right? You can keep his sweeping profile the same because of what it is, except I think it's torrent 1 right now. Increase that to torrent 2. And then, again, a little bit more useful, a little bit more reason to use that instead of anything else. Demo Trooper, I think, should have access to, at the very least, a crack grenade. Maybe, or a crack grenade or frag grenades. It could be a situation where instead of just giving him access to everything, he just gets access to that, and it'll be like the frag grenade is 3-4 damage hitting on 3s, right? Blast 2. Something like that. Just give him a little bit more, and then blast padding, make it so that I think the Navis Breachers have this, where this guy's immune to the blast rule. To the blast rule, I think it's actually. The blast and devastating rule. So instead of just re-rolling, you're just immune to it so that you can't succumb to it. Again, other teams have this. I have no idea why this doesn't have that. And if you don't want to do that, then make him save on 3s because he has extra armor or something. Something nice to give him a little bit of an edge to just... Because a lot of people don't even use him. They just drop him, okay? Because he's not that useful. I personally love him just because of his model, and I like to use him, but I would like to see a little bit more use out of him. And then with the marksman, I think that it should be changed to heavy dash only. A little bit of movability on him would be nice, though I understand why it's not. This is one of those things where I'm like, okay, I get it. Because after doing some thinking about it, he hits on 2s. So getting all 4 hits is pretty common, especially if you have access to a reroll. In that situation, if you have light 'em up running, you actually get a guaranteed crit and a hit no matter what, right? If you also have piercing crits 1 on this. So you have a situation where somebody could potentially be getting P1 on their stuff. 2 shots are going through. So no matter what, he gets 9 damage through, right? From Dev 3 and then 3 damage. So, 9 damage you went through on every shot. On a lot of teams that kills their models. On a lot of elite teams that injures their models. So with them, I understand why it is the way it is. But yeah, obviously some of these are massive buffs. I really do think if we just had elite points, we could probably be pushed up to a 40% win rate team. And I would be happy with that. Again, I just want the team to be playable, okay? I want the team to be playable and fun. I feel like there's a way to do that. That doesn't feel too crazy, especially, again, compared to Prescience points and Novitiates, Faith points, who I've played against, and who they just go like, I'm just going to turn this into a crit, by the way. LOL. I'm going to make it so you can't shoot me. I'm going to actually take away your this. It's insane to me that we even have to have these conversations. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.
It was a hell of a night.